Humans. Let's talk about water. When I was a boy during the summers back in the 70s, at around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, your family may have been different, but my mother was ready for me to be out of the house. She had things to do, and me bouncing off the walls was not included in her agenda. So, like many other boys in my neighborhood, get out of the house, go play, come back for lunch. If you don't find lunch at somebody else's house, and there was always some mother who had some snack or something for us to eat, then I want you back home when the lights come on in the evening, when the street lights come on, and you better be here for dinner. But between that, get the hell out the door and come back home, there was a lot of time to be filled, and we did all kinds of things. We were running around in the woods and playing games and playing football and imagining all kinds of grand adventures. And that would really wear you out, especially during this hot, steamy summers down south. And you would get thirsty. I got to have some water, man. So what did you do? Well, usually it was rare that you would be close enough to the house, your own home, where you would just run inside and get water. We were usually out in the woods or down the street or in another neighborhood or something. So the best option was often a garden hose in somebody's yard. And it didn't matter. Sometimes you got lucky, the water would be cool because the hose had been sitting in the shade. Sometimes the hose was sitting out in the sun, and the first few seconds of water were so hot that you couldn't even drink it. You had to let all the hot water run out of the hose till you got to something that was cooler and that you could actually drink. Do you remember that hose taste? If it was a new hose that the water was coming out of, man, it was just like chewing on plastic, drinking plastic. Maybe that explains some of what's happened to us, all of that consumed plastic. But water was water. That's what I'm trying to say. It was an elemental need, a basic requirement for survival, honestly. You can go maybe 72 hours without water, maybe very, very uncomfortably, before your body starts shutting down. Food, you can go for a couple of weeks. Not water. Got to have it. It is a base element. It covers 2/3 of the earth. It makes up 2/3 of our bodies. Got to have it. Simple. Water. No more. I often get asked about this concept that I often refer to, the abstraction layer of culture. And I think water does a good job of explaining it. The fundamental base reality of water is what I've described. It is a physical requirement for human functioning, for biological functioning of most creatures on Earth. Have to have it. And not particularly picky about it. Just let me have it. I have to have it. We're no longer in Kansas. Now look at these shelves filled with all of these dizzying options for water. Now we're in this complicated, if this is the base layer, this is the abstraction layer where we get stuck in ideas about water, right? And only when you have that I've got water available to me do you even start playing in this abstraction level of what kind of water. What kind of water, for fuck's sake. Alkali water, mineral springs, imported water, domestic water. Look, I've been in the branding business for a while. I've done a lot of different waters. And we invent these rhapsodies about water. Oh, I can't stand that kind of water. I have to have this water. Really? No, you just need water, bitch. But we have it in our heads at this level of abstraction that I have to have a certain kind of water. We have fetishized water. There are discussion groups about water on Reddit. There are videos where people do blind tasting tests of water. Now I get it, okay? I'm fancy enough to get all of the game that's being played. I'm an active participant in it. I'm an author of some of the game as a branding executive. So I understand the game very well. I also understand the absurdity of it. And I also understand that you don't get into this kind of crazy level of abstraction until you have the base requirement checked. Okay? We are now squarely in the world of the devil's workshop with all of our idle hands. We have secured the fundamental requirements of survivability. You're familiar with Maslow's pyramid, where food and shelter and, water and clothing and all those things live at these base layers. And then you get to these higher layers where we become more abstracted. At the very top is art and culture. You don't get art and culture at the top layer of a society until you have all of these other boxes checked and you have time to develop art and culture. Okay? So this fetishization, this abstraction of water is emblematic of a culture that has too much time on its hands. It is the devil's workshop. And we have gotten ourselves into all kinds of trouble. And we will continue to get ourselves in all kinds of trouble because, let's shift now into what this metaphor applies to. This metaphor now applies to our humanity, the fundamental base reality of our humanity is what we used to operate in. Human to human. And now we have all of this abstracted layer. What kind of human are you? Oh, I'm a special human. I have a very particular lived experience that makes me unique from all of these other humans. See, I'm an alkali human, or I'm a mineral fortified human, or I'm a carbonated human, or all of these different things that we fetishize about water we're doing with our humanity. All these special circumstances, all these special conditions. And we have gotten ourselves into the craziest place when we start to believe it. I need water. Humans need humans. And all of this fuckery that we have gotten into, all of this precious, these confections of the special kind of human I am and my special requirements as a special kind of human. And it's making us crazy. I'm telling you, it is making us crazy. And this is what does it. This is what does it. This is what's done it to us. This is the rabbit hole factory. We go down deep, 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 or up, up, up into these abstraction layers. And we get into these special interest silos. of our special kind of humanity that we have. When I hear my lived experience, as I have for quite a while now, right now, my immediate reaction is 99% of your lived experiences as a human. All the rest of this shit that you're talking about is like glitter on a dog. Yeah, but nah. I'm just a human. You're just a human. When you have a headache, do you reach for black aspirin for black people? Or LGBTQ aspirin? Or white Anglo-Saxon Protestant aspirin? Or do you just reach for aspirin? Because aspirin cures headaches for humans, regardless of who you are, unless you have some kind of reaction to aspirin. Water is what humans need. We don't have to have all of this, but we have become enamored with all of this. We are now in a place where we think this is reality instead of this. And it's making us crazy. If there's anything I want to do is to try to occasionally ground us in our humanity, the shared, the overlap of the Venn diagrams is so, we are so overlapped that you can't even see the distinction. Yet we have separated ourselves into this kind of thing where we think the small part of in the center is our intersection, and all of these things on the side are the reality of all of our differences. Bullshit. We have got to wake up from this. Humans, be human before anything else. Peace.